Hello, everybody, and this is our first class in the subject of love and marriage. And at Word of Truth Bible Institute International, we're going to be teaching a lot about the home, the family, the role of the husband, the role of the wife, parenting, and all the topics associated with that, because the home is the foundation for all of society. God is the author and the source and the creator of the home and the family unit. And I think much of the evil we see in the world today can be attributed to the destruction of the home and marriage and family, and the role of the husband and the role of the wife. All of that has been demeaned and changed by our world and by our society, and we are paying the price. All across the world, in every nation, we're paying the price for tampering with God's model. And we just can't do that. So we desperately got to get back to family and home and the home unit as God created it to be. Not apologizing to the world, an ungodly world, for how God created man and woman, male and female, and the family unit. We don't owe anybody an apology, and we have the truth, and it's vital that we preach the truth in our churches and pulpits and in our private and personal lives. So we're going to begin today. This is class number 1, Love and Marriage. And I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing my lovely wife to you. This is Glo. She spells her name Glo. And we have been married 45 and a half years. And in a few months, it will be 46 years. So, honey, just say greeting to the people, and we'll just get to scripture here.
Hello, wonderful people. It is a privilege to come to you today and to talk on this very important subject. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be chosen by God, to be married. That's the way He set it up. He set up the institution of marriage, and we should all desire to be married.
Yes, we should. And even in our day, there's so many young people, the younger generations, they don't even desire to be married anymore. That's abnormal.
Yes, it
and
is.
and that's not the way God set things in place. Now, I know I'm biased, and I'm going to say that right up front, but this beautiful lady here that I'm madly in love with is, for me, the Proverbs 31 woman.
She's very sweet.
She is not only beautiful outside, she's beautiful inside, and she has devoted her life to being a wonderful wife and mother and grandmother, and what a gift from God to me to have her as my wonderful, wonderful wife. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to begin in the New Testament, and we're going to begin in this pivotal passage of scriptures that talk about husbands and wives. And we're kind of going to go through it slowly and just chat back and forth. And honey, I want you to jump in, say anything you want to at any time. Glo does not fashion herself as a preacher, but she is such a gifted woman and a gifted wife and mother. She has a lot to bring to the table. And while I don't want to force a role on her that she says is not hers, I certainly want to allow her to share her tremendous heart and gifting. Actually, being a husband or wife is a gift.
Yes, yes, it is. It's a gift from God.
It is a gift, and she is gifted to be a wife. God has given her grace. The word grace means many things, but one of its meanings is gifts. And God has graced her or gifted her with the gift of being a wife. And I hope I'm gifted to be a husband.
Yes, you are. He really is.
I hope I'm gifted to be a husband, and because I love being a husband. And I absolutely love it. And I love being a father, love being a grandfather. I love those roles. And my wife and my children and my grandchildren come before the ministry or the church. They are my ministry. My wife is the very first in the top priority of what my ministry is, in taking care of her, loving her, protecting her, providing for her, just everything that being a husband entails. That's the first priority. It would be terrible to have a thriving church and an unhappy wife. And so she is first in the priority. I think, and unfortunately, a lot of preachers get it backwards this day and time because their church is first and then their wife is maybe second, third, or fourth on the list, and then their kids are even a little further down. But I feel in my heart and from Scripture that my wife is my top priority. As a matter of fact, and since we've been married 45 years, I've said this a lot to her, and I've said this to congregations and to people. She is God's daughter. She's not my daughter, she's my wife. She's God's daughter. And God entrusted her to me some 45, 46 years ago. He entrusted her to me with the intent that I take good care of her for Him. Because one day when we leave this world, she will not be my wife anymore. And she will be God's daughter then as she is now, and God will want to know from me how I took care of His property. And I hope that that the Lord will say, you took good care of the one I entrusted to you as a husband in the office of husband.
I'm sure you will.
So she has been entrusted to me from the Lord. And knowing that from the beginning, then I felt my primary responsibility to her was to love her. And I'm going to read, in fact, I think, honey, we'll, instead of beginning at verse 22 with wives submit to your husbands, I think we'll just jump down to verse 25. And then, of course, we'll hit verses 22 through 24. But I want to start here. It says, husbands, love. Now, those two words alone are powerful. Husbands, love. It doesn't even say men love. It says husbands, love. Now, since love must have an object, you just can't go around and say love, 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 because the question is, who do I love? Who do you want me to love? Love must have an object. That's the nature of love, is to have an object. There has to be a person, place, or thing that you love. And so love has to have a goal, or it has to have an object. Well, here, the object of the husband's love is his wife. Okay? Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Husbands, love your wives. Husbands is plural, wives is plural. So obviously, my duty is to love my wife. I can't love your wife. I can't love your wife as Christ loved the church. This is the problem we get into in a lot of church counseling sessions. Wives come in to talk to the pastor. They're not being loved at home. And the husband and the pastor, having a heart for people, shows Christian charity and love. Okay, Christian agape love. And the counselee takes that as a personal love.
Yeah. True.
Like the counselor is falling in love with me, or the pastor is falling in love with me, and their love needs are not being met in their marriage. So they've come for help, and that's a good thing. But the pastor, just loving all people, men, women, young, old, he loves all people, should love all people. Such a woman may begin to feel that love, okay, that agape, nothing immoral here intended, but she begins to feel that, and then she begins to react to that and begins to bring romance into that.
Right.
Is there anything you want to say about that?
Well, so many times women's feelings are a part of what they're receiving. They're receiving acceptance. They're receiving something that they're not getting at home or not receiving from their spouse. And so they take that and they embellish it and say, he must be falling in love with me.
Honey, speak up just a little.
I must be appealing to him in some way for him to be reaching out to me and accepting me, when the pastor is just accepting you as a person, and he is trying to help you not fall in love with you.
Yes.
As marriage love.
Yes. Well said. And I think we all know, we all hear stories of pastors who have had affairs, and most pastors' affairs start in the counseling room. And they start out just like this. And they start out with a lady coming in for genuine help, and she doesn't have any ulterior motives except to get help. And it starts out with the pastor wanting to give help in a pure way.
Yes.
But when they get together, and just like Glo has said, the wife, another person's wife, begins to feel that the pastor cares and that the pastor's reaching out to her or something of that nature. And then she begins to embellish it and thinks, well, he must be falling in love with me. And then if she starts responding romantically or in a physical way, then the pastor or counselor indeed can begin to respond to that in a very inappropriate and sinful way.
Right, and you can feel that.
Mm.
They talk about feelings. You can feel if a person is attracted to you, because love is a power, and this power can be felt. And if the other person is putting out that vibe that I care for you, do you care for me?
Right.
How much do you care? And I'm so mistreated.
Right.
I'm not receiving this at home.
Right. A victim
Yes.
mentality from home.
Yes. That this power can throw people together.
Yes.
It can throw them together. And that's not the intention of being counseled. You don't go into a counseling session with the intention of falling in love.
Right.
But you go into it in order to get help.
Yes.
But the help is so personal.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's personal. It's that one-on-one. And even if your husband is there, you're counseling together, and your husband is there, or the pastor's wife is there, which I would suggest always have.
Yes.
Definitely. Your wife, your spouse there, and especially pastors always have your spouse there. Especially if you're counseling with another woman.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just good ethics, and there's safety in that.
Yes.
Because so many times people people go further than they want to go.
Absolutely.
It's not their intention. They go there wanting help,
Right.
needing help, and the pastor wants to give help.
Right.
But we're all human,
Yes.
and we can all be seduced by Satan.
Yes, we can. That is so true and so well said. So many things she said there, so vital. Yes, all of us are human. And under the right circumstances, any of us are subject to falling. Now, the moment you begin to think that you're so powerful, so holy, so above temptation, that's the moment your downfall begins.
Yes.
And you can never allow yourself to think that way about yourself.
Right.
You can never think that way about yourself. And also what Glo said about counseling, always have, if you're a male, you're a pastor, always have your wife with you when you're counseling another woman. Always. Now, if the woman says, I don't want her there, that's a red flag.
Yes.
That's a red flag. If she's coming for help, she really doesn't care who's there. Okay, especially the pastor's wife. All right. Always have your wife there, and don't meet at a time when your wife cannot be present. And if such a time cannot be agreed upon, then that's just a counseling situation you will not be able to do. Always have your wife present.
Yes.
Behind closed doors in counseling situation with another woman, married or unmarried, and of any age.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Because all it takes is a false accusation
Yes.
to sink you and your whole ministry.
That's right. And it can't be retracted. Once those words are spoken, the community at large believes it,
Yes.
whether it's true or false.
Right.
And, 9 times out of 10, it is false.
Right.
But it cannot be retracted from people's minds.
Right.
Their minds believe the worst.
Yes.
Their minds want to believe the worst.
Yes.
For some reason, Satan has been able to take the human mind and say, well, that was true.
Yes.
That's true. You were in a situation when you felt that the pastor was coming on to you.
Yes.
And it's the pastor wasn't.
Right.
But Satan speaks in your mind.
Yes.
He speaks to your mind. And it's always in the first person.
Yes.
Always the first person. He came on to me.
Yes.
Not, did you notice that the pastor said this and did this, and so he must like you? He's coming on to you. And it's always that first person. It's never, hey, look, the pastor is not really coming on to you.
Mm-hmm.
He never makes that accusation to anybody.
Right.
And like I said, people want to believe the worst.
That is so.
Why? I don't,
right. That is so
Satan.
well said. Glo's giving us so much wisdom here. Yes, like she said, words, when it gets out, it cannot be retracted. And even if there is a clarifying statement to follow, people aren't going to believe it. And just like you said, honey, people believe the worst.
Yes.
They want to believe the worst, especially about a man of God or a woman of God. And once there is a false accusation, and I want to underscore the word false, once there is even a false accusation, for reasons that Glo just said, it's you're getting over that in the eyes of the community. It can be done, but it is very difficult.
Yes.
If not sometimes impossible. So well said. And then she just revealed probably the most important secret about spiritual warfare that you will ever learn anywhere at any time by anyone. And that is this: when Satan speaks into our minds, he speaks with first person pronouns.
Yes.
Why? To make you think that it's just you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He will say, I am such and such. We are. I am. We are. And the reason for that is to throw you off and deceive you.
Yes.
And you'll just accept it as one of your own natural thoughts when actually Satan is speaking into your mind, hiding behind first person pronouns. And so that is so true, so much good information there. Um, so uh, Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives. So that's the first duty of a husband, is to love his wife.